Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's not turning out to be a very good afternoon in the Middle East. A dramatic escalation of hostilities, a joint US-Israeli military operation has struck multiple high-value targets inside Iran. There is one report that claims that at least 40 of Iran's top officials have been eliminated in US and Israeli strikes. Iran's top leadership almost entirely wiped out as we speak in the operation that has now gone on way beyond 24 hours. To start with, Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has been killed. Iranian state media has confirmed this. So have the Americans, so have the Israelis. He had led the Islamic Republic since 1989. There is an entire generation in Iran that doesn't know a life without Khomeini. Who will be his successor is a question being asked. What we are being told is that in early morning strikes yesterday, this is when there was specific information about where Khomeini was. He was in his office in that compound in Tehran. That is where the strikes happened, and he is killed. Initially, the Iranians reluctant to accept it, but post that, the body or whatever was left of it was retrieved, and a confirmation has come. A 40-day mourning period has now been declared in the state of Iran. Israeli and US officials are saying that several of Iran's top military commanders and regime figures have been eliminated as well. This includes the head of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. His successor has now been named. Let's see how long he lasts. Among those reportedly also killed, as I said, General Mohammad Pakpour. He was the former commander of the Revolutionary Guards. He's been killed. So have the defense minister of Iran, Aziz Nasirallah. He was reportedly killed in these airstrikes. Ali Shekhmani is the secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council. He's been confirmed killed by Israeli military as well. We also have Abdul Rahim Mousavi, who is the chief of staff of the Iranian armed forces. Multiple reports saying that he is amongst those who have been killed in these strikes in Tehran. A bit of an irony because his predecessor was killed in American strikes in the war in summer that happened in June, July. It lasted for about 12 days. Now, the scale of the strikes has prompted Iranian missile counterattacks across the region and has marked an unprecedented attempt to decapitate Iran's political military leadership.
Hi, we are now in the bomb shelter for like the 50th time in the past 2 days with my little boy. It's been crazy, no sleep as you can see, a lot of explosions, but we're all happy here, surviving, and you know, hopefully we'll be strong. More details to come once we get out. We don't know what the results are because we don't have reception. So I'll update when we get out of the shelter here. So we're in the bomb shelter for, I would assume, about the 50th time in the past 24 hours. And everyone here is tired, extremely, as you can see. The kids are going crazy. But I've been talking with Israelis, both in the government and out of the government, and everyone is very happy with the results of this war so far. And we feel like it's another little longer to hold on. We've been told that it's going to take some time, but that the results so far are better than expected in terms of the infrastructure, the people, and the motivation that we've taken away from the enemy. And we really hope that the Iranian people will rise up. That's the hope. The Israelis and the Americans both have told me that there's no plan to actually go into Iran and take it over. The whole point of every messaging that's being put out is to tell Iranians to take to the streets and to encourage them to take over their country. So at this point, we are really hoping that, you know, that's what they do. For our point, we've had one person dead so far, a bunch of buildings struck. Next to my house here, we've had a park that was hit straight up with a missile, but thank God no one was killed. And that's where we are today.
That is Ariel Wittman. He is one of Israel's best-known journalists, putting out a blog telling us exactly how Iran's retaliatory strikes are playing out. Both sides have claimed damages on either side, but that is something that is yet to be confirmed. For the moment, my guest this evening, Lieutenant General Dhillon, continues to be with us. Thank you very much. Dr. John Harrison, Homeland Security expert, joining us on the broadcast, and Colonel Mahesh Ramchandran joining us on the broadcast as well. Dr. Harrison, I'm going to come to you first. More than a success of the Israeli Air Force and the American Air Force for the joint partnership, it seems the success has to be attributed to whoever gave out information as to exactly where Ayatollah Khomeini was placed and exactly where Israel's top leadership was placed. Because as we speak, it's not just the supreme leader who is now dead. There are at least 40 commanders who have been killed in these strikes.
Yes, that's been kind of one of the really interesting things that has been going on in Iran now for probably a decade or more. That Israeli intelligence has been able to not only penetrate the country, but seem to be operating freely and at will. So clearly, the major contribution that the Israelis will be making is the intelligence penetration that they have of the country. So that's the very good news. In addition, I think there may have been some tactical changes because of this. We've seen in the first 24 plus hours now that rather than what we saw in July, where the Iranians sort of mass attack. These are small, sort of frequent waves. My wife and I live in Abu Dhabi. We just returned from Dubai, and there were several alerts overnight for that. So there are clearly kind of small waves going on. It's not clear if this is strictly a tactical change or because of the disruption of leadership. But I think that's really the key of the first part of this, is to bring the Iranian leadership into chaos. The positions are being filled. There have been reporting this morning that Ayatollah Khomeini's son has been named as a supreme leader. So there will be leaders moving into place, but they're going to be isolated. They're not going to be able to be in a position where they can be making decisions, particularly because it is clear that U.S. and Israeli intelligence has a bead on where the leadership is. So the fact that you don't need to even disrupt the communications, you just need to make sure that decision makers are isolated.
Dr. Harrison, can I ask you if you're picking up any details from your sources as to how exactly this operation was conducted? Because, we are seeing reports from Washington Post, we are seeing reports from New York Times to say there was absolutely specific information and intelligence that was available with the Americans and the Israelis as to where Khomeini was. And that's when the Americans and the Israelis struck. So they knew exactly where he was. Possibly it was a mole who leaked it. Any information at all?
I'm hearing the same thing you are. So I don't have any additional insight from that. But it would be clear that for the U.S. and the Israelis to come out quite early in the operation yesterday and to say there was a very high probability that Khomeini was dead would suggest that they knew pretty much exactly where he was. And with the electronic sweep that both nations have, with as I mentioned earlier, with the intelligence penetration that the Israelis have had in Iran for a considerable amount of time. I mean, this goes back probably a decade. So one of the things that is going to be very concerning for the leadership is that how are our opponents getting this very specific and detailed information to be able to launch these strikes? It's probably, as you have suggested, very likely that there is some sort of confidential source with very good access to where the leadership is. But also there's a great electronic sweep and that. So there's a number of sources and methods that will be used to be able to coordinate and to confirm that the targets are actually in the sites that they are. And that's going to be what's probably the most devastating for Iran to be able to then mount a coordinated counterattack, is because you don't know where and how your opponents are getting this information.
True, and there have been deaths. There have been deaths reported on both sides. Only the number isn't confirmed. We'll try. There is a figure that Red Crescent is putting out. I'm not going to put that out right now till we get some sort of confirmation. But for the moment, what is clear is that the Middle East is seeing a major escalation in conflict. No one seems to have been spared, especially not Dubai. We've got some very worrying pictures from there. We've seen the Dubai airport come under fire. Maybe these are drone strikes or missile strikes, but we've seen smoke and plumes of smoke emanate from the Dubai airport. Dubai's best known iconic hotel has been struck as well. Residents are reporting hearing explosions all over the city. Though they, as of now, are claiming they do feel safe there. There is a new statement that Dubai has put out. As we see these pictures, I'm just going to put that out, and I'm putting this out because we have a lot of Indians who live in Dubai. PV Sindhu, our shuttler, is stuck there as well. But Iran has launched drones and missiles in Dubai. That is clear with the pictures we've been showing since morning. This is the confirmation we are getting. Authorities are confirming that debris from drones intercepted by air defenses fell in the courtyards of 2 homes in Dubai, resulting in 2 injuries. The injured have received necessary medical care. Authorities also clarifying that sounds could be heard across the Emirates were the result of successful interception operations. By the end of this war, skirmish, conflict, whatever you call it, people will be dead on both sides. That is the nature of war, ladies and gentlemen. With these pictures on your screens from Dubai, let me also tell you that it's not just Dubai. We have seen similar scenes since morning come to us from Doha, from Bahrain as well. So all of them under attack by Iran. In fact, in Iraq, which actually is a bit of an ally of Iran, you've seen a US installation being targeted as well. The picture on your screens right now is of the Dubai airport. General Dhillon, as we see these pictures coming out, and we've seen them come out since morning, we now have some degree of confirmation that is coming to us from Dubai as well. Again, the question is, how long do you think this will last? Given the fact that it's not just Ayatollah Khomeini who's dead, 40 of Iran's top leaders are dead. They can keep naming successors, they can keep projecting an aura of stability, but it's clear that Iran has been pushed to the edge.
Thank you, ma'am, and once again, good afternoon to your viewers and the fellow panelists. As I told on your channel yesterday and today morning also, I'll just repeat for the viewers who have just joined in, and things are fanning out as I told yesterday. Any military campaign is launched with certain phases. You know, in phase 1, this will happen after successful completion of phase 1, phase 2 will start, phase 3, phase 4, and they're very clearly given out military and other activities which are done, and some phases overlap each other. Now, the way it has been planned and the way it is going is, first and foremost, America's declared goal of regime change. That would mean the political leadership, the government official, the top government official, the top military leadership has to be decapitated, so that there is a confusion and there is a lack of decision making. So the first phase would involve the political leadership, the military leadership, the government official decapitation. That having gone, alongside with it would happen taking out the missile sites and the air defense, which is hindering or which is targeting Israel and US military assets in the region, or which is intercepting the incoming missiles from US or Israel. That would go on side by side. Once the air defense and the missile sites are neutralized and the airspace is in American and Israeli control, then would start the devastation of the military assets, which would have started alongside also. Okay. In that, all the military assets, including the nuclear installation, will be targeted, the economic assets will be targeted, and most importantly, the military industrial complex which is manufacturing these missiles would be destroyed.
That's true.
Now, having achieved that, alongside with this will
give me a moment here, General. You've spoken of nuclear assets / the nuclear ecosystem in Iran. We are now hearing from the IAEA, that's the International Agency for, in fact, the IAEA will be holding an emergency meet on Iran tomorrow, is what we are being told. Can I just come to Dr. Harrison? Dr. Harrison, you know, I'm just plainly going by what Donald Trump had said last year when the 12-day war had broken out. He had said that all Iran's nuclear assets had been annihilated. His words, not my words. Do the Americans think that Iran right now has the capability and the capacity to build a nuclear bomb?
That seems to have been some of the discussion that has been out over the last number of days. And the the issue seems to be sort of twofold. One is, does Iran want a nuclear program? And there's a debate that seems between the president and the U.S. intelligence community over that. And then second, whether or not they want one, are they capable of being able to get what they call breakout? And that seems to be where the concern is because as you probably remember from the June strikes, not all of the enriched uranium was actually believed to have been destroyed. There's a debate over how much was. The IAEA came out with a report just recently that suggests that Iran was very close to being able to weaponize whatever uranium they still have.
Okay.
And apparently they are very close to being able to get to weapons grade. And the percentages are such that there's a debate over whether it's weeks or months, but it's a very, very short period of time for whatever they have remaining. So I think that's the concern that the United States, the Israelis, and I must say others in the region do have. That they potentially have the nuclear program. They also, remember, do have a delivery system potentially with the ballistic missile program, but they can also already deliver biological and chemical weapons, which Iran does have. So there's a whole series of weapons of mass destruction that the international community is concerned about. The nuclear is the one that obviously attracts the most attention.
But what was annihilated last year then is the question. The International Atomic Energy Agency will be meeting tomorrow. Logically speaking, in a war, there is no Saturday, Sunday, or the weekend. So ideally, they should have met today if the concern was that real. But yes, General Dillon, you want to come in? Go ahead, please.
Yeah, ma'am. I wanted to complete the point that after the first phase is over, the air defense has been suppressed, the missiles have been suppressed, and then they will be free to use even the aircrafts for a close bombing. And then they will destroy the economic assets, the military installation, the military industrial complex, which is manufacturing these missiles. And alongside with this will be a very, very strong narrative or a cyber warfare which will go on. We already seen the videos coming out with the ladies shouting that death to Khomeini and other things and all. This will continue side by side. Along with this will happen, the internal uprising will be given a flip. All the elements which were against the regime would be told to gather sport and come out with on the streets so that the downfall of the regime is hastened. And this will also result in a civil war. And thereafterwards, to get the civil war under control and put a regime of America's choice in place will take a little time. And as of now, the most important aspect is how long. And I would like to believe it will take a few weeks before everything, including the economic capability of Israel to rebuild the assets again. One thing again I would like to say it here is, America can accept anything. America will not accept any weapon system which can hit their homeland.
Correct.
So all those capabilities of Iran would be destroyed once and for all.
Okay, but then what happened in July last year is a question that needs to be asked. Give me a moment here, Colonel Ramachandran. There is news coming in, and this is the UAE putting out a statement. We've already seen those pictures, but the UAE now saying that Iran has fired 137 missiles in its territory. 209 of them were drones, is what we are being told. Reports saying that Iran has fired 137 missiles and 209 drones, so that is the breakup at the UAE. The UAE is claiming that most of the Iranian missiles were intercepted, but 14 of them did fall, which means the escalation that actually started last evening continues as we speak. Doha has been targeted, Dubai has been targeted, UAE telling us about the missiles they have intercepted, Bahrain as well, similar pictures coming out. Colonel Ramachandran, Trump has said, I mean, there's a difference between what he says and does. That is a different, situation altogether. But Donald Trump has said this is a moment for the Iranians to seize this opportunity and put a liberal government of their choice in place. Do you think that is possible? Because right now, even if it's a veneer, the fact is that the Islamic Republic is still in charge. They have put a transition leadership in place.
Yeah, so Shreya, currently the message that Iran is sending out is a very tough message that, look, we are not backing off, and we are not backing off in a hurry. There are certain prerequisites for a regime change. One is an external coercion by external forces that is being done. We are seeing it. coupled with somebody, the same external forces fueling unrest in that country. We are seeing that also. What level we really don't know, right? However, if at all these measures are used to effect a regime change, then let's also be clear, the regime changes have not been durable. They have not been very,
True.
You saw what happened, Shah of Iran, Afghanistan, everywhere. They are very temporary. And I think the US and Israel or the world would be missing a trick if they're going for that kind of regime change. So I don't see that happening in a hurry right now. You know, that point you said, and it's also a little baffling. You know that Israel has done targeted killings much before the, what happened in June, July last year. They targeted killing in Iran, all over, in Hamas.
Was targeted. Their top leader was taken out as well.
Absolutely. So I'm surprised. Yeah, so I'm surprised how, Iran was caught napping in this. They've lost, 40 people killed.
40
whatever
top commanders.
40 commanders killed, the leadership killed. But I don't know, are they also like a multi-headed hydra that you kill one and another pops up? Which we see happening. If you've killed the father and his son takes over, how are you going to effect a regime change? So I don't see that regime change happening in a hurry.
And if there is a regime change, what will that regime look like? Does America want to install the exiled prince of Iran, as it were? He's been putting out tweets in support of America, saying this is a divine intervention, etc., etc. So is he coming back to Iran anytime soon? Does he have acceptance when it comes to the people of Iran? Because, Srinjoy, just come in here as we get more pictures, and we'll just put out those pictures, the most dramatic telling pictures of just how the conflict has escalated. But the fact is that Iranians, like the Israelis, are a very patriotic lot. In fact, martyrdom is something they aspire to. In the face of an external power hitting your country with missiles and drones and killing your leader, irrespective of whether you liked him or not, it could, for all you know, even be a unifying moment. While we have seen pictures of celebration after Khomeini's news became public, there has also been mourning.
It's hard to say what finally happens. But as far as the Shah's son is concerned, he has not been in Iran for what? 45 years at least.
Correct.
Now, 45 years is a long time. Now, how much support does he have in Iran at this point? Of course, there are enough people who will say anyone but this leadership. But how many people is that? What percentage of the 90 million people is that? And it must be remembered that the Shah was in power for about 20 years. He was installed by the Westerners by pushing out Mossadegh, who was an elected leader, a socialist, and because he had nationalized the oil industry, which is why he was pushed out and the Shah installed. The Shah had to leave Iran because of a popular uprising. A popular uprising that forced the Shah to leave. Point number one. Point number two, he ran a secret service called Savak, which was enormously brutal. Even 45, 47 years later, the Savak is remembered with fear. Now, all this is against the Shah's son. The whole point is how many people in Iran today would want him back. Maybe a small number, maybe a slightly larger number. We don't know.
Iran has vowed the most devastating offensive operation. They've put out a tweet saying as much. US air bases have been targeted. Strikes have also been reported in Dubai, in Doha, in Bahrain and Kuwait. Very dramatic pictures coming to us from there. In fact, we've collated some of them, and Akansha is taking us through them. Akansha, over to you.
Absolutely. You see, after the elimination of Iran's supreme leader, Iran had said that it would hit back, and now we are seeing that West Asia is on the edge. These are visuals coming in from Bahrain. As you can see, several areas there have been hit, and in fact, we're learning that just a while back as well, there was an attack on Bahrain. Let's get you another visuals that that is coming in. As far as other areas are concerned, Dubai is in focus. Several areas, 4 areas importantly. International airport, we're learning that one of the iconic hotel there, iconic residential areas, seaport, they have been attacked as far as Dubai is concerned. And you can see one of the missiles there also being intercepted. Iran's missile shot down as well. But there were few attacks as far as the international airport is concerned. Iconic residential and iconic hotel is also. Then comes to Doha, where several loud explosions were heard just a while back, and these are the visuals coming in of the missiles being intercepted there as well. So all of these areas, the regions are on the edge as well. But most importantly, have a look at the visuals on your screen. These are from Doha International Airport. Plumes of smoke coming out of this, and this raises a lot of concern because a lot of people travel to Dubai. They live in Dubai and work there, and this has raised a lot of concern there. West Asia is on the edge. Iran had said that it would hit back, and that is what we are seeing right now.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much there, Akansha. Akansha getting us the most dramatic pictures that have come to us since morning. Let's remember that this is a matter of concern even for India, given the fact that there are at least 1 crore Indians who live in the Middle East. So there is a real concern there, Srinjoy. There has been a push from the embassy, the Iranian embassy here in India, to get India to issue a statement. We've all seen that, and they're saying all fair-minded countries need to come out and condemn what Israel and the Americans have done. India has been quiet when it comes to the killing of Ayatollah Khomeini. Why do you think that is the case? And do you expect India to make a statement anytime soon, if at all, or is it just in our best interest to keep quiet?
If India feels it is important to make a statement, India certainly will. And last night, India made it very clear that the 3 Ds had to be looked at: dialogue, diplomacy, de-escalation. All of that is right, because if there has to be peace in the area, you need dialogue, you need diplomacy, you need de-escalation. Now, let's not forget, as you rightly said, about 1 crore Indian citizens, men, women, children, are in the area. Also, they are working for a living. They are sending money home. That's one. Besides, 80% of India's, more actually, 80% of India's oil needs are imported. And of that 80%, an overwhelming percentage comes from the Gulf. India is not buying oil from Russia to the extent that in one state. Also, if there are deals that are going to be done tomorrow and day after, because the Canadian Prime Minister is going to be here regarding petroleum. The Canadians want to sell petroleum and natural gas to India. Fine, but even that will take a long time. Till then, it is very necessary to keep the lanes open, to ensure that the oil comes in, and also investment, IMEC in the future. There's a lot to be done.
There's a lot to be done.
And the earlier the war ends, the better it is for India.
But it's not ending anytime soon. I think that is the estimation. Yes, Colonel, you wanted to come in. I have a piece of breaking news, but quickly, if you want to add to that. No,
I'm just saying that India, they'll have to do a fine balancing act. They can't condemn it. They can't endorse it.
Correct.
There's lots at stake. So you can't be seen taking sides. So that clarification, a nuanced clarification will probably come sooner rather than later.
Yes, and the Chinese have been very careful as well. They've simply asked for a de-escalation, nothing else. The Russians have been extremely quiet. The first people you would have thought would have reacted would be the Russians, given their ties with the Iranians. That has not happened either. But as we speak, there is breaking news coming in. The UAE now making it official. Their industrial areas have been struck. Iran has struck UAE's industrial areas. Their drones have hit this industrial area. What is the extent of damage is something that is still not clear. But the UAE now confirming to us that some of their industrial areas have been hit. On that note, a quick break. We continue with this coverage. Do stay with us.